In a world of physics-defying strength and gigantic muscular men that are almost as buff as me, Hibiki, an ordinary high school girl with an unusually large appetite, decides to join a gym near her school in order to lose some weight. But when she arrives there, she coincidentally runs into Akemi, a classmate of hers who is a rich and perfect model student with perfect grades in all subjects. And upon seeing Little Miss Perfect, Hibiki loses her motivation to work out and decides to quit the gym until Akemi surprisingly approaches her with an unhealthy amount of enthusiasm, as she's excited to finally have a workout buddy the same age as her, which makes it difficult for Hibiki to quit now. The girls are then taken to the gym's main workout room, but upon opening the door, Hibiki is shocked by a sight of overwhelming testosterone and manliness, as the room is filled with Tyler 1 wannabes, which solidifies Hibiki's desire to quit. On the other hand, however, Akemi is overly thrilled to see so many chads with bulging muscles, which freaks Hibiki out even more. But as Hibiki plans her escape from these freak shows, she runs into Machio, the gym's best trainer and the real star of the show, and immediately agrees to join the gym after being completely smitten by Machio's good looks, and is thrilled that he has a normal body compared to the monsters she witnessed earlier. The next day, both girls are completely charmed by Machio as he randomly begins explaining how to do a proper bench press for some reason, and Hibiki is glad to see that Akemi is attracted to normal guys too. But when Akemi then does a few bench presses and begins to feel the burn in her chest, she says she hopes to one day look as buff as the muscular men she loves. Meanwhile, Hibiki finds herself completely unable to keep up with Akemi as she greatly struggles to do even half as many bench presses. But while lamenting her lack of strength, Machio comforts Hibiki and tells her that everyone needs to move at their own pace, which makes her fall deeper in love with him. But as they talk, Machio suddenly flexes his muscles and reveals his inner muscular chad that was hidden beneath the tracksuit, which causes Akemi to fall even deeper in love with him, while Hibiki realizes that Machio is not her normal Prince Charming after all. And as the girls walk back home after training, Akemi is thrilled to learn that Hibiki has a bottomless stomach as she's always eating something, and tells her that if they work hard together and eat a lot of protein, they can both become super muscular bodybuilding babes, a thought which terrifies Hibiki. A few days later, Hibiki worries that she's made no progress as her weight is increasing rather than decreasing. But when she complains about this to Machio, he explains that despite losing fat, her weight increased because she gained muscles, and that exercise and a balanced diet is the only way to get a beautiful body like his. In reality, however, Akemi soon realizes that Hibiki simply hasn't lost weight because she actually has the appetite of a starving T-Rex. A few days later, Hibiki and Ayaka, her best friend, watch an action movie together at Ayaka's house, but are soon interrupted when Ayaka is forced by her older sister to help run the family business for a little while. To Hibiki's surprise, however, Ayaka's family business turns out to be an intense boxing gym that trains the world's best fighters, which she regularly spars against. And as Hibiki watches Ayaka and the others go at it, Ayaka's sister convinces Hibiki to try and hit a punching bag. But to everyone's surprise, Hibiki's strength is so overwhelming that it breaks the bag, a feat that can't be accomplished by a mere mortal. Sometime later, Satomi, a teacher at Hibiki's school, decides to join Silverman Gym in order to lose weight. But when she gets there, she's completely shocked to see that 2 of her students are already a part of this gym. And upon seeing this, Satomi decides that she has no choice but to quit the gym. A decision that she quickly changes her mind about after meeting the handsome Machio. And when Satomi then agrees to join the gym and begins working out with Machio, Hibiki tells her that it's good for older women to exercise, which leads a pissed off Satomi to tell her to watch her mouth. Later on, as the girls watch Satomi work out, they notice a strange tan line on her stomach, and begin to speculate that Satomi must be into some kind of extreme sport. In reality, however, Akemi is just an avid cosplayer, who desperately doesn't want anyone to find out her secret, especially not her students. But a few days later, when Satomi attends an anime convention, she's shocked to see that both Hibiki and Akemi are there for some reason. And to make matters worse, the humongous Machio is there too, cosplayed as Muscle King, a famous anime character from the popular series Lift of the North Star. But while Machio steals the show with his unbelievable muscles, Satomi is able to sneak away from the convention and get changed without being spotted. Unfortunately for her, however, Hibiki later notices Satomi with a backpack and suitcase as she's leaving the convention, and mistakenly concludes that Satomi must have been there to buy boys love manga, which she pretends is true in order to keep her cosplaying a secret. Sometime later during summer vacation, Silverman Gym finds itself filled with ordinary grass touchers who are eager to gain a perfect beach bod, which unfortunately means there's no room left for the girls to train. Instead, Akemi takes Hibiki and Ayaka to her huge mansion, so they can train in private while her parents are busy traveling the world. But since Akemi's house has literally everything except a personal gym for some reason, the girls decide to watch a video on home exercising, hosted by a devious-looking man that is actually a professor at their school. And by following the video's advice, the girls try to do dips by using chairs. And while Ayaka manages to do it smoothly, when Hibiki tries, she accidentally breaks the chairs and profusely apologizes to Akemi, who says it's no big deal. But later that night, however, Hibiki learns from a TV show that the chairs she broke were antiques that cost $1 million each. Sometime later, after summer break ends, the school decides to hold a sports festival, which Hibiki is not at all excited to participate in, as she has no confidence in her running ability. At the gym, however, Machio helps Hibiki and the others by teaching them several exercises that can improve their running ability. But as the girls watch Hibiki give it her all while working out her legs, they notice that her shorts have ripped but feel too awkward to tell her about it, while Machio is just busy admiring his muscles. And to make matters worse, on the way to school the next day, Hibiki's leg muscles are so sore that she can barely walk. Despite this, Hibiki still gives it her all at the school sports festival later that day. And even though her class is in last place, Hibiki pours everything she has into trying to outrun Akemi, only to fall short and finish in second place. But when all is said and done, Akemi and Hibiki are both proud of their performances. And after the race, while the girls relax at a sauna, they decide to have a healthy competition to see who can stay in there the longest, in order to win raffle tickets with a chance to win them a flight to Freedom Land. But as both Ayaka and Akemi soon give up from exhaustion, Hibiki finds herself alone against Satomi, who seems completely unfazed by the heat. In reality though, Satomi is completely unresponsive as she's already passed out from the heat, granting Hibiki the victory. But rather than winning a trip to America, Hibiki is disappointed to learn that she tortured herself in a sauna just to win 4 lame t-shirts, which she ends up giving to Akemi anyways. A few days later, Hibiki sees a home theater system on sale and desperately wants it no matter what, but has no money to pay for it. Incidentally, she sees a flyer at the gym that is promoting an arm wrestling competition with many cash prizes. And upon seeing this, Hibiki immediately agrees to enter, but decides to practice beforehand against Ayaka, which she surprisingly defeats within seconds of the match beginning, despite her opponent being an experienced boxer. And while the sight of Hibiki's monstrous strength terrifies the girls, it has no impact on Machio, who decides to be Hibiki's next opponent. But even though Hibiki gives it her best effort, she still loses when faced with Machio's immeasurable strength. Despite this, however, Machio is surprised that Hibiki was able to force him to get a bit serious. Later that day, when the arm wrestling championship officially begins, Hibiki learns that there are only 2 women participating in the tournament, herself and Gina, an arm wrestling athlete from Russia, who's defeated countless men in her goal to become the greatest arm wrestler in the world. And even though Gina's confidence and impressive record are a bit intimidating, Hibiki refuses to back down as she desperately wants the prize money. But when the 2 girls grasp each other's hands and the competition officially begins, Hibiki immediately overwhelms Gina with her ridiculous strength and wins the match in a matter of seconds. And although Gina is initially shocked by this unexpected outcome, she doesn't give up. And the next day, Gina transfers to Hibiki's school in order to get revenge on her in an arm wrestling rematch, only to learn that she's actually in the wrong classroom. And later that day, Gina secretly follows Hibiki around the school to learn the secrets of her strength. But when Hibiki fails to do a single pull-up because she's too weak, Gina mistakenly believes that the cunning Hibiki is hiding her true strength from her. And despite Hibiki's best efforts to avoid this crazy Russian throughout the day, when she finally returns home, she's shocked to see that her parents have allowed Gina to live with them, as they are her host family. The next day, because the gym is closed, Hibiki decides to invite her friends to visit the restaurant that her family runs, and the girls enjoy a feast of delicious Japanese barbecue together, which Gina believes could be the source of Hibiki's inhuman strength. Afterwards, Hibiki complains that, because the monthly fee for the gym is quite expensive, and the cost of all the food she devours is also quite high, Hibiki has to work 5 times a week to make enough money. But when Akemi reveals that she can just ask the school to cover the entire fee for the gym, Hibiki is completely shocked as she never knew that was possible. At school the next day, Gina reveals that she watched anime and Jackie Chan movies to learn about Japanese culture, and while in class, she immediately recognizes Satomi as the famous cosplayer which she is a fan of. When she later confronts Satomi about this, Satomi begs her not to expose her secret, and that she'll do anything Gina wants in exchange. To her surprise, however, Gina just asks her to hang out together in Akihabara. But on the way there, Satomi asks Gina why she even wants to go there in the first place, and Gina reveals that she actually wants to form an idol group with all the girls, including Satomi, but this will unfortunately have to remain a fantasy for now. Meanwhile, a mysterious man tells his secretary to book him a trip to Japan. And a few days later, the mysterious man lands in Japan, and terrifies the airport employees with his overwhelming stature. The next day, Machio instructs the girls on how to do proper back workouts so they can become strong enough to carry trash teammates in online games, when his muscles all of a sudden sense a dangerous presence. Suddenly, the mysterious man is revealed to be Arnold, a famous movie star who both Hibiki and Ayaka are huge fans of, and who was shockingly also Machio's mentor back when he studied bodybuilding in America. Arnold then reveals that he came to Japan to see his former students' progress, and upon seeing Machio's display of immense strength by crushing a hand grip, Arnold invites him to a bodybuilding competition that he sponsors. The next day, the girls arrive at the bodybuilding competition to cheer Machio on, and are escorted by Arnold to the VIP section. And while Hibiki and Ayaka fawn over Arnold's ridiculous strength, he explains that in each round of this competition, bodybuilders will score points based on how well they perform specific poses. And as they watch the competition unfold, Akemi is extremely happy to see so many muscular men with bulging muscles, posing as if just for her. But when it is finally Machio's turn, however, he performs a pose that is so unbelievably powerful that it causes the entire audience to imagine their clothes being ripped away, and even causes the other competitors to kneel before him and surrender from the competition, as they pledge their loyalty to the god of muscles. Afterwards, Arnold reveals that the competition was actually just a test to see if he was worthy, and he invites Machio to compete against him in Las Vegas. But Arnold is then left rather shocked when Machio refuses to compete so he can focus on his job at the gym. Sometime later, the girls are hanging out together during Christmas time, but become depressed when they see couples everywhere and realize that they don't have boyfriends, a role that I would personally be happy to fill for any of these girls. The next day at the gym, however, Machio explains that the gym will hold a Christmas party attended by college students and sports athletes, which the girls realize will be a perfect opportunity to get boyfriends. Akemi in particular is excited at the idea of meeting a muscular hunk of a man, while Satomi thinks it would be nice to finally get married. And in preparation for the party, the girls decide to exercise and get in shape, but an overly excited Hibiki accidentally drops a barbell on her head. And at the end of the day, the girls decide to compete to see which of them will be the first to get a boyfriend. The next night at the Christmas party, the girls all chose to wear cute costumes to help attract a man, with Satomi in particular wearing something quite aggressive. Suddenly, the lights dim, and Machio announces that the winner of tonight's raffle contest will receive 2 tickets to a popular amusement park, which the girls all want to win. Machio then raffles off various prizes to the audience by flexing and revealing the winning numbers written on his body, with Satomi eventually winning the much-desired amusement park tickets. Unfortunately, it turns out that all the guys at the party are all already married, so Satomi decides to give her tickets to Akemi, who really wanted them, as she intends to ask Machio out on a date to the amusement park. The next day, the girls decide to stalk Akemi and Machio, and are shocked to see that Machio actually agreed to the date. And what's even more shocking is that the two of them seem to have a normal date together without Machio ever ripping off his clothes. But when Machio and Akemi enter a suspicious tent, Gina and Hibiki decide to follow them in, thinking that they're doing something obscene. In reality though, the two are just participating in a cosplay event together in order to give Akemi a great excuse to look at Machio's muscles, which Hibiki then realizes is what Akemi has been doing all day. Suddenly, Akemi terrifyingly begins describing how much she loves muscles, and how Hibiki simply doesn't understand the beauty of a truly macho man. This speech is then abruptly interrupted by Machio, who once again thinks this is a perfect time to talk about performing proper bench presses. Sometime later on New Year's Eve, Hibiki and Gina are chilling at home, when Akemi and Ayaka suddenly show up to invite them out to a nearby shrine. Once there, however, Hibiki is shocked to learn that in order to reach the shrine, they must climb a ridiculously long set of stairs. And to make matters worse, there are quite a few muscular men there preparing their bodies in order to accomplish this monumental feat, as they wish to meet the god of muscles who is rumored to live at the top of the mountain. But when the girls learn that the shrine is also rumored to grant success in love, they all suddenly gain the motivation to climb the mountain. But this quickly proves even more difficult than they had ever imagined. When they finally reach the top, the girls find out that Machio's family actually owns the shrine, and he works there as a muscle priest during the holiday, but I think it's more likely that he's the muscle god. Much later after New Year's, Machio informs Hibiki and Akemi that the gym is organizing a trip to a tropical beach for spring break. The girls of course agree to go as the place is trendy among young people, which makes it the perfect place to look for boyfriends. Once there, however, Gina can't stand the hot weather at all and immediately removes what little she was wearing, which might help her odds in the beauty contest that the girls decide to participate in shortly after, with Akemi in particular feeling excited to show off her impressive physique, which leaves Hibiki speechless. Once the contest officially begins, however, both Gina and Ayaka are immediately disqualified for inadvertently breaking the rules. Meanwhile, Akemi succeeds in impressing everyone by demonstrating her ability to do handstand push-ups. And since Hibiki also doesn't want to lose, she decides to show off her inhuman punching strength. When the contest committee then reveals that the result is a tie between Akemi and Hibiki, the two of them decide to compete in a bench-pressing battle to determine the true winner, which Akemi eventually wins despite Hibiki's best efforts. Despite this, Hibiki and Akemi later talk about how much they've both grown thanks to their training. But their heartfelt conversation is soon interrupted by Arnold, who just felt like dropping by to convince you to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching this anime recap, and Arnold hopes to see you all again in the next one.